How to build wealth in your 40s. I'm going to talk about three very specific things. They're must-dos. You need to get these three things going in your 40s and really ramp them up. Most importantly, at the end of the video, though, I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake most people make that cause those three things to fall down. So let's put it all together. Get a notepad. Let's begin. So in your 40s, and really I'm going to say as you move into your 50s, it's ramp up time. So in your 30s, right, and you can go to my search bar and say, how to build wealth in your 30s. You can look for that, and I have a lot of those videos. In your, early years, and you can say, well, my 40s is still like my biggest earning years. And a lot of the internet, folks would say this is your decade. I think your 30s is your decade, especially if you haven't decided to have kids or you've had kids midway through that. You've got a lot of mobility, you've got a lot of movement, you have a business, hopefully that's up and running. So in your 40s, to me, it's your ramp up time. So the three things we're going to talk about is how do you get that business ramped up? Like, let's go for that extra cash. What are some additional alternatives that can create passive income? Because now you want to start thinking about getting additional income from investing sources. And then number three, it's time to expand and ramp up that life insurance, not death insurance, life insurance. And I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake in a little moment. Let's dig into these three. Number one, you got to ramp up that cash machine, your entrepreneurial venture. And inside of that, you get to ramp up your tax strategies. So by now, your business, if you've been following along, hopefully is making at least six figures. And you're deciding whether you want to become a full entrepreneur or keep a job. Now, I have a lot of six-figure employees. I have a lot of airline pilots. I got military folks. I have firefighters, believe it or not, make six figures. I have medical, health services. I have some teachers. I have all sorts of engineers where they want to keep their job. They're on that 20-year run or 25-year run. They want the benefit. They want the lifetime benefit package, right? Whatever that is. A lot of my military folks want that, or union folks. So keep your job, right? That isn't going to help a lot. In fact, I would have a conversation with one of our team about how much you maximize that 401k in this decade. In your entrepreneurial venture, if you don't have one, get one. I have a lot of videos out here on my YouTube channel about how to get that started. But let's assume you're there and you have it started. Let's get to six figures. You take all that extra money and you put it to new investments. So you live on your W-2 and you take all this extra money. You can get that to six figures. And some of you out there saying, I can't do that part-time. Yes, you can. I have a lot of clients that are engineers and they have another business that they're working. They have a lot of I'm going to say employees. They own franchises. They are involved with Subways, with Chick-fil-A's. They are aeronautical engineers, and they have businesses on the side. It's a full hustle. It's inside an entity, and it is jamming. Those of you who are already making $100,000, it's time to make 200. Become accredited. If you're not accredited, make that a goal in this decade. And in fact, if whatever decade you're hearing this, because maybe your mom and dad are 40 and you're a young kid going, how come my parents don't get it right? Well, they should be listening to this channel. So I'm going to take a little pause there. Subscribe to my channel, and you and all of your family and friends need to be out here listening. We need one conversation. And this conversation is an extension of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad conversation, right? So that's the big brand that put this on the map, this conversation, and said, this is what you do. This is the how-to channel. I'm going to tell you how to do this and what to do. So in your 40s, get that entrepreneurial venture up. Let's get to six figures. If you can, get to seven. Once you're heading towards seven, unless you're really anchored to a benefit package, most families are quitting at that point and moving towards all income in an entrepreneurial venture because you get the tax benefits. You're never going on a vacation in that business. You're going on business trips. Your kids are employed. Your kids have Roths. In my book, Make Your Kids Millionaires, which you can get in the link below. It's an age-by-age book on how from 0 to 21, how to raise your kids to be financially literate and become millionaires. I did it. My co-author, Kyle, did it. You can do it too. Your 40s is pivotal to this wealth building. So the next thing you have to do is you need to start looking at alternative investing. So wealthy people make money in the alternatives, right? You're not parking your money in a financial institute praying to God somebody's going to do something with it. They don't care. You need to care. So right now we have the new asset classes. If you're not in cryptocurrency, you need to start putting your toe in the water. Even the classification of NFTs. Actually, I have an NFT project. And when you go to my Make Your Kids Millionaires and get the book, I'll introduce you to how to get into NFTs because I'm launching my book inside of that. Number 3, you got real estate, which is the granddaddy of them all, always has been. And if you haven't bought a home by now, you need to consider doing that. Now, do you actually need a home, or can an LLC buy the home and have it be a business? There are so many families because of the pandemic that are using their home, Airbnb being part of a room, short-term leasing a room, building an extra in-law unit, renting that, and making their home a cash flow machine. You can do that too. So the next big one, though, you've got to expand your life insurance. Life insurance done right, you can become a bank. You can loan from it. It makes it litigation proof. And it's not only for the death benefit. So when you die, all of a sudden you make your heirs a lot of money. You have a cash value inside of that. You can use it as a bank. And depending on how much you fund in your insurance, you can set yourself up for later life cash flow. You design it. You get to design this paycheck later in life when you use life insurance properly. So expand your business, take all that money, invest it, learn to invest in the alternatives, and expand your life insurance. So once you do those three, then I want to talk about the biggest mistake. So before we do that, though, make sure you've hit that subscribe button, click the bell so you have notifications every day, and let's stay in this conversation. I'm going to keep guiding you. The biggest mistake that people make is not forecasting. Now, other people that have like a limited scope of the world in finance call it budgeting. I hate that word. It's like a diet. No one's doing them. It's restrictive and it's nature. Forecasting is just consciously saying, of all the money I make from my income sources, from my job or my business or my passive income from other investments, how do I want to spend it? Right? So do I want to spend it individually? Do I want to spend it corporately? Remember, your corporations can have insurance policies. You can have insurance policies. Your families can have trusts. What's called ILIT insurance, which is life insurance, trust insurance. That creates generational wealth. So you may want to start setting up irrevocable trusts that are funded by life insurance policies. So let me tell you a story. So growing up in Nebraska, I grew up in a great farm family, but I didn't learn about money and I didn't learn about generational wealth, and it's really not going to happen to me. Statistically, generations probably blow through their money, if there is anything to carry down for generations, within 2 to 3 generations. It's just gone, if you can even make it to 2. So I just kind of created an experiment. I wanted to see if I could, number one, make my kids millionaires, and upon my death, make them multi-millionaires, and then stage it through trust, insurance, businesses, and everything I just talked about, that they will have a legacy for as many generations as they teach financial literacy to those kids. I can tell you the number one reason why families fall apart and why the Vanderbilt family fell apart is no one was financially literate. They lived big lifestyles and they blew through it and it was all gone. Unlike the Rockefeller family, who actually created generational wealth through financial literacy and very staged trust requirements. It's up to you how you want to roll, but in your 40s and in your 50s, this is your time. This is your time to set for whatever your goal is. If you want to give it all to charity, I have clients that do that. I have clients that actually want to just spend it all and not do generational wealth. But during this time, if you want to go spend it and have that fun lifestyle at the end, you got to set up your business. You got to set up alternatives. You've got to set up your insurance and to really expand it. Set up those forecasts so you're funding every month into those categories of how you want this strategy to play out for you and your family and for your life. What I want you to do right now is I want you to click on the link below. I want you to go to my financial personality quiz, and I want you to take a quick quiz. It's going to take a few seconds. It's going to tell you who you are, which informs us of how you're currently behaving. And then it's going to follow up with an application where you can have a one-on-one conversation with one of my top strategists about how we can serve you in your goals and becoming a wealth builder in your 40s, in your 50s. And if you're watching this and you're younger, let's just begin. Today is always a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.